Hi, and welcome back. We are on day 15. Love is honorable. The scripture for today is 1 Peter 3:7. Live with your wives in an understanding way and show her honor as a fellow heir of the grace of life. And I don't know that I've read that scripture before, or that I've paused long enough to take in the scripture. But it is not just for a spouse. I think that it applies to everyone that crosses our paths. And, again, that we will have different levels of honor. And as we'll talk about that throughout this particular day, it just means to really to set them apart, to hold them to a higher level of respect and care from us, and that we really value that person. And it's the same with God, that how we spend our time with Him is a direct reflection of how sacred we hold our relationship with Him. And that might have a little bit of a sting for you, as it does for me from time to time, when I just, we are, again, very human, and we're not perfect, and we succumb to the daily pressures of life. And but to work on what Beth Moore refers to as our holy habits, the things that we fall back on that is second nature. So just like breathing, that our time with God is of such value, and we hold it so sacred to us, that to not do it is really an equal deprivation. It's not just that, God is not having that time with you, but that you're suffering for not having that time with Him. And, one of the things that the authors talk about for this particular day is that, that the basis of honor is the word holy. And I hadn't really thought about that, but it's very true. And holy meaning set apart for a higher purpose, and that it's not just another person or another task, but something very special and unique. And the thing that I thought about, as they were describing this relationship between husband and wife, that I thought, oh my goodness, is that how I treat God? How sacred is He to me? Is there anything in my life that takes or receives a higher level of commitment from me? And is there anything that can take His place in my heart? And of all the things I'm willing to sacrifice, am I willing to sacrifice the most for Him? And I wrote those questions down in the discussion, because that's some pretty deep stuff. And, although when we answer those questions, it may be very easy to say, well, of course. But our actions are really what tells the tale. And it's something, again, that it takes exercise, and to develop those holy habits, as Beth Moore refers to, and that it's, again, just like breathing, that you wake up in the morning and to have that quiet time with God, or, before you go to bed, that you just can't either begin your day or end your day or have a special time during the day without that fellowship with Him. And, I think that, throughout this Dare Day, it really does emphasize the relationship. One of the things that the authors talk about is that love honors even when it's rejected. Now, isn't it wonderful, that God will never reject us, but how often do our actions reject Him? And, and that may be another one of those tough questions. And again, I think that, to grow ourselves spiritually, even though our head may know that nothing is going to change God's love for us, life may have taught us something very different in that love is negotiable, it's performance driven, that if you do the right things, say the right things, then you'll receive that love. And for many years, I fell into that thought trap, so to speak, of not consciously, but subconsciously, my life experiences had taught me that love was dependent on performance, or that's how my mind saw it. And so quite often, and even before I started writing this Bible study, I didn't want to disappoint God. So I would hold back from doing something because I didn't know that I would meet His standards. And that can sound really foolish, but it's still very true. And so with so many other aspects of love, that we have to be intentional. And to honor says, okay, I value our relationship the most. And of all the things I'm willing to sacrifice, I will sacrifice the most for you. And that, definitely applies to our relationship with God. But how do we put that into practice? And how do I show God today I value my relationship with Him the most? How do I express a willingness to sacrifice for Him? And so today's dare says to choose a way to show honor and respect to your spouse that is above your normal routine. It may be holding the door for her. It might be putting his clothes away for him. It may be the way you listen and speak in your communication. Show your mate that he or she is highly esteemed in your eyes. And so for our Think Right, Pray, again, I think this is, a pretty easy way to put God in that scenario as opposed to a spouse, to think about the different ways we show God we honor Him above all others, and are these actions transparent to those who cross our paths. And for our writing exercise, to list 3 or 4 things that are part of your daily routine that show God you honor Him, and to also list areas where you struggle. And finally, in prayer, thank God for loving you enough to grow you daily. Acknowledge Him for specific areas of growth and ask Him to help you when you struggle to put Him first. Again, this is, I know I say this with every week and practically every day there, but I just love this study and I hope you are enjoying it too. And I will be back shortly with Dare Day number 16. See you soon.